Well, welcome to another Miracle Monday, where, as you know, Mom and I come together to have real conversations. And this morning we have nothing planned, but when we hopped on, Mom was sharing her where she's at right now. And so I thought that rather than us have a real conversation before we like hit record and have our real conversation, let's just have the real conversation right here, right now.
And then decide if we'll share it or not.
We're going to share it. We're going to share it. Okay, so do you want to share? So here's the thing. We have these conversations all the time, and the purposes of recording this is to, number one, just record the kinds of conversations that we have, and number two, we want to inspire other people that might listen in different ways. And sometimes that's going to be through we're feeling amazing and we're feeling excited and we're feeling vibrant and we're sharing in that way, and that's inspiring. And other times we might be feeling less than vibrant and sharing from that perspective, because here's one of the things I'll say. I'm going to preface it with this. I think one of the downsides to all of the ways that people share in the world right now is that, as we know, they share the highlight reels. So they only show up when they're feeling amazing. And I get that from like a sharing perspective. But what happens is the people that are listening, the whatever, I mean, not that millions of people are listening to us, but just in general, I'm talking in general right now. When we watch and everybody's life looks perfect because that's the only part they share. And it's funny, I'm in the middle of making a reel that is sort of about this right now, but couldn't finish it before we hopped on. It's easy for people to feel like something's wrong with them. Is your phone ringing or something?
My door is open.
Oh, I can see your
I
eyes.
closed
Wah,
my
wah.
door. I'm closing my door.
Okay, you close your door. Um,
Sorry about that.
that's okay. So one of the problems is we don't feel comfortable sharing when we're in a funk. We'd rather wait until we get out of a funk in order to be able to share because that's more comfortable for us, for sure. However, there's people who get really down, feel alone, feel like something's wrong with them because we never, or rarely do we see that these people who are inspiring, amazing, happy, wonderful people like you are, um, also have moments where they don't feel like that. And that's part of life. So I'm grateful that you decided not to cancel today.
Good.
Um, because I think it's important to have these conversations too. I really do. So tell me how you're feeling and what you were thinking yesterday, like what's happening for you right now.
Well, one of the things that just came to my mind as you were talking
Mhm.
is that, I'm kind of, I guess, torn from the perspective also within myself, never mind sharing, is
Yeah.
that I know how the brain works. And if I stay stuck on feeling bad and reiterating why I feel bad and how I feel bad and all of those things, I am perpetuating that same feeling. And that's my belief. So whether it's anyone else's belief or not, that's fine. But
Yeah.
that is my belief. And so, and my natural tendency all my life would be to not do it, but it's not because I'm trying to hide. And it's not because I don't want people to know. It's because I'm not comfortable there. And
Hmm.
so I don't function very well there. And I don't think it's healthy, me staying there. So all of that's running behind. It's not as much, I don't want anyone to see this. I don't want to share. I don't want them to know I'm not having a good time. It's none of the above, none.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's the intention behind you not wanting to share or people not even not wanting. I mean, I guess we have no idea what all the different reasons are that people don't. I'm just saying because we don't, whatever the
Mhm.
reason might be,
Mhm.
um, people can feel like when they have these times in their life that there's, that there's something different about them or there's something wrong because nobody else does kind of thing. So
Yeah, which isn't true.
that's right.
It's
The
just a
point is
matter
that
of,
everyone.
I'm sorry
Oh,
to interrupt, honey, but
no.
it's a matter of how willing are we to stay there? And I just am not comfortable there, and not in a judgment way or anything.
Mhm.
I'm not comfortable. I don't think it's healthy. I already have to be concerned about my health, which is part of what I was, you know, feeling yesterday, kind of.
Mhm.
And, I've had 2 weeks that have not been a great 2 weeks,
Mhm.
starting with
Yes.
mango, and which is, for those of you who don't know me well enough, that's our cat who we found in our backyard that had been poisoned. And we've had him for 13 years, and he's a part of our family. And he's the cat that hangs around us all the time and whatever. Anyways, it was a shock. It was a huge, huge shock to our
Because you
physical
lost him. You said
system.
he'd been poisoned, but you lost him.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and seeing him, the way Uva found him, and I don't want to go into the details, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was shocking. And so that's how actually it was um after it was the same day that we did our last Mind Power Monday. So the day was fantastic. The morning was great. I had a great time. I had a great afternoon. Like everything was fantastic. And that's how my day ended.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's going to be an experience of grief and what do we do and how do we handle this and those kinds of things. But the point is, it's been tough.
Yeah.
And then Maddie, her place being broken into and her being under so much stress, the perfect news is that you were here and just happened to be visiting. So that was the great part. Thank goodness. And go ahead.
Afterwards, we can talk about the miracle of that, but carry on.
Yes. Anyway, so my point is, it's been a 2 week
Yeah.
run of, and the other thing that was on my mind at the time was I do have the tools to overcome these things, and I could bounce up and I could think of this and think of that and do this and do that. Um, and interestingly enough, Jolene and Victoria and I were going to do a joy journal for 2 weeks. And I decided that I don't want to look for the joy.
Yeah.
I know it's out there, but I don't want to pull myself from this. You know, our cat meant a lot to us. And if I just paid attention to my body, it was hard on our bodies. And so could I pull myself out and get in a joyful state? Yes, I can because I do have skills.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. I felt it wasn't right, nor was it necessary to do that. So that's kind of, my last couple of weeks. And did we still, you and I, when you were here? It was wonderful and joyful and, just not in that uptime, woohoo kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
joy. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that's enough background of what I was experiencing. And then just to finish it, I thought yesterday I'm going to cancel Mind Power, or pardon me, Miracle Mondays.
Yeah.
I just am not, I don't feel inspired. I don't feel inspiring. I don't have anything to talk about. I just can't do it. I don't want to talk to anybody. And
Yeah.
also, I was going to cancel my appointment this afternoon with two women who I love spending time with, who are inspiring. But I was going to cancel because
Hmm.
I just didn't feel I had anything within me to give. And
Yeah.
then I don't know what happened. I guess something just happened inside of me, and I just thought, okay, well, enough of this. And literally, I just had a shower and felt different. And we started putting Christmas decorations up a tiny, tiny bit. But the point is, something shifted
Yeah,
naturally. And then I made the decision to stay committed to both of these things. But I was very, very close in connecting with both of you and saying,
yeah,
I can't do it.
yeah. And I mean, if you had done that, obviously that would have been fine because you would have been honoring yourself like 100%. And I'm glad you're here because at every moment of every day, you don't have to be in a upstate, you know? I know we want to, and you do have the tools, and you won't stay here forever. That's just not who you are and how you live your life. But I do think it's really important to honor yourself. And like you said, mango's a huge, I mean, a huge, um, I don't want to, the wrong word is staple in your home. What's the word? Like a, and so it wouldn't be like you to just go, oh, well, like let's just shift over to a happy, positive state. I think there are times when it's interesting because I must have been tuned in. I obviously was tuned in this morning without being tuned in because I recorded a reel on my walk that I haven't shared yet. But about now I was using the word cranky, but but it's not even really cranky, but I had a really good friend of mine say they never get cranky. Life's too short and they never get cranky. And it's like, I'm thinking, well, I guess maybe you're a superhero because I do. I get cranky, even though I have all of the skills and tools and I care so deeply about being, like enjoying my life and being happy and at peace. But the truth is, I get cranky sometimes, and maybe cranky isn't the right word, but not thriving, not my optimal self. Like I'm not yelling and screaming and acting like an idiot, but I won't always be like joyful and whatever. So I'm surprised that somebody else can be all the time. I'm curious about that. But anyway, so that was like my train of thought this morning was like, I care so much about this, but yeah, I'm human. I have feelings. Like life happens, right? Um, and then I was just creating another reel of like my last year. If I looked at my camera roll from last year this time, which was as like we know, because you were a huge part of it, one of the darkest times for me where I didn't want to do any of the stuff to feel better because the truth is between you and Alaska and my living situation, I didn't feel joyful and I didn't want to do the things I normally would have done to feel joyful because it really sucked. Like it just really sucked. And that's because I love you so much and I love Alaska so much. And so the fact that both of you were really not well, I had all the tools I could have done whatever maybe, but I didn't want to.
What's the
So
point?
I
And you're
guess
not
my
going to
point,
stay there forever. You won't
that's
stay
right.
there forever.
That's right. Yeah, so it's like I don't even know what my point is, but I think that it's not appropriate maybe to just expect and or shift over to joy at every moment when major life things are happening. There's like a fine line, a dance when the moment is, I don't know, but it's like it's normal and normal's not the right word. It's like proper, right? I don't know, like to have the human experience, whatever that is, because life does happen and things happen that are hard and, you know, painful. Like that's just the reality. Um, and so it's honoring of ourselves and whatever the situation is to not just immediately flip over to like, what tool can I implement to feel, you know, And then there's a fine line between like, at what point do you do that? Because you don't want to stay there for 10 years. Um, and maybe we need to do it momentarily for commitments that we have. Like maybe if I have a client or we have a client or speaking again, like something, then you use tools to in the moment be able to elicit a certain state in order to be able to do the thing. But anyways, I don't know. What do you think about all that? Like I feel like there's a time when it's like we feel as humans and it wouldn't be normal not to because I often say, we didn't come here as a tree or a rock or whatever. We came here as people. Um, even though trees and rocks, I'm sure feel too. I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation. But anyways, what do you think about that? Like the time of honoring and then the time of shifting over and all of that. Do you have any thoughts that pop up when I say all that babble?
Well, I think that I do think it's a choice. So even though I felt like that, I did have a choice of focusing on other things because the truth is at the same time that that's happening, there is like wonderful, joyful things happening. There's no question. Both are going on simultaneously. It's where our attention is, and are we ignoring something? So if we just look at our spiritual evolution, like, you know me, I feel I'm here for my really to grow
Yeah.
and evolve. And so if we look at it from that perspective, then we can make choices with the different things. I wanted to stay in that in honoring myself.
Yeah.
So I thought that was, it just seemed important. I didn't have to justify it. I didn't have to do anything. It just was the way it was. And I think that we have to be conscious of how we want to live our life. And so even now with my health. So the other thing that was really hard on me was there were things within my health that weren't as good as they had been. And it's like, really one more thing, you got to be kidding me. Like and that really brought me down too. So the whole thing for those 2 weeks encompassed both of those things. So, but there comes a time for me when I have to somehow decide, okay, you know, it's time to look in a different direction. Will I stay in that direction every moment? Probably not, because there is a reality going on in my life that is challenging. And how do I maneuver through this? And, I mean, even today, I was thinking, what I'm experiencing, this is an opportunity for me to see how other people have lived their life. I've never lived my life like this. This is so foreign to me, you know, and yet I am right now. And
Yeah.
so I have to reframe things. I have to look at them differently. I have to do something that allows me to honestly be grateful for what I do have, for the true joy that is surrounding me, like my family and friends, and
Hmm.
to really pay attention. And like I say, I often go inside and think about the people that their whole life is 10 times worse than my physical challenges. Now,
Yeah.
again,
Then your
we've
last
talked
year.
about, pardon me?
Then your last year.
Right. And
Yeah.
we've talked about the fact too that it's not about me minimizing me because somebody is worse.
Yeah.
It's again honoring self and honoring other people. But wow, it's like shown me, holy cow, people really live with a lot of challenges and physical challenges in their life. And
Hmm.
I've never had to do that. And now I am limited, but I'm not limited at all compared to
Yeah.
millions of people, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's that fine balance. So I don't know
Yeah.
if I
And I mean,
long-windedly answered your question.
I don't even know what my question was. So, um,
Yeah.
but when you were talking, it also made me think of when we were together and one of the conversations that we had, which was, and this is me saying how amazing you are at always thinking, like, even though maybe you're not bouncing off, the walls with joy and
Tap
excitement,
dancing.
yeah, exactly. Um, but that you're always thinking in this way. And so again, from sharing who you are, and I know you say you don't want this to be about you, but it kind of is, um, is when you were saying like shifting, excuse me. I don't know what's going on. Um,
Do we have to sign
okay.
off now?
um, Shifting, like you were laying on the couch. We're sitting in your living room. You were laying on the couch and you said something about shifting, thinking about your medication, like waiting for when you're going to get off of it, to shifting it to accepting that maybe you'll be on it forever. And how, like, with the expectation of getting off of it, you're waiting, like, not wait, this is like my words and whatever, but like waiting to be happy until, versus accepting that maybe this is what you will have for the rest of your life and that it's allowing you to be laying there on the couch chatting with me and to going to Maddie's, well, I helped her pack up, and going for the walk in the forest with Brad and Uva and I, and all of those things that you can do. So, and my point is you are thinking that way all the time. Like you're constantly looking for, how can I think of this in a different way that will have me feel different in the existing situation that I'm in right now.
Yes. And as you're saying that too, I'm not sure if we talk about probably the same things over and over. Um, in terms of I have to be careful that I can look at my past with joy, but I
Yeah.
have to be careful that I don't look at my past and wish I had it now or in the future.
Yeah.
So I have to be really accepting of this is my life right now.
Hmm.
And I have a future, whatever that is, I have no idea, but it isn't my past. So
Hmm.
I've had an amazing, amazing life, and now I have a different one, but it's still amazing. I still have such beautiful, loving people around me, and like, let's face it, what else really counts? I
Yeah.
mean, and so, and like you said, walking in the forest and, you, Uva and Brad and I walking in the forest and laughing and talking. And, I can do all those things. Don't ask
Yeah.
me to walk up a hill, but, but I can walk in the forest, like just, for a long time. So I have to, but I have to do it sincerely. So
Yeah.
I think that's what I'd like to really share is that what I'm saying, I sincerely believe it when I say it or do it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not just saying all the right things and, oh, I should be grateful. Oh, I can walk in the, it's no, it's not that. We have to, in my opinion, we have to believe it in our heart and soul, not just words, right?
Hmm.
So,
And that's why you're not doing that right here, right now, is because it's not real. It would be like forced. It would be, it would be to put on a show or whatever. It's
yeah,
not sincere. And the moment that it is sincere, because you're always thinking in that way and you are always reframing and you're always, clearing negative emotions that pop up and you're always looking for limiting belief, like you're always doing the things. And so you also then can trust and honor that when the timing is right, you will feel different.
yes, I guess
Yeah.
so. I mean,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, this morning I was clearing, I mean, was half awake and half asleep, looking at for limiting beliefs and, or negative emotions, like, okay, what can I do here to, and I always do other things too in terms of love to my family. And, so I have things that I do regardless, by the way.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't really matter what my state is, but I'm sure that shifts my state as
Yeah.
well, right? But
Yeah.
I think you talk about your practices as well. It's like, you know, it does start with beliefs, I think. I think it starts with what we believe life is meant to be. And then
Yeah.
somehow figuring out and not striving, but how can we live that, you know?
Yeah. As often as we can to the best of our ability.
Well, yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
at different
Yeah.
times, it's going to be different ways, you know?
Yeah. 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 Well, I think that you, as much as you didn't feel like you had anything to share, I think you've done a great job at sharing.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you showed up. I mean, if you hadn't, always that would be fine. But I'm glad that you came, exactly as you are, because you are inspiring. It is amazing how you live your life, how you've lived your life and how you're living it right now in the middle of a challenge, a big challenge that changes your life dramatically every single day. Like it's not like a challenge that you come in and out of or that your life looks, normal or like it did sometimes and then you're reminded. It's like you are living it because it's your health and you're living it and you're amazing. You're just amazing and inspiring. And I know that you're obviously that to me. And so you're that to everyone else too.
Well, thank you. And again, I don't think we ever see ourselves the way anyone else sees us, you know. But anyways, if I can be of service in any way, but I can't, I really can't be like down for a very long time to share my downs, but I do
Yeah.
have them. I just
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
This doesn't serve me or
Yeah.
anyone else, in my opinion. And if I can just go back to knowing how the brain works and how
Yeah.
we process information and how, you know, things affect other people, then
Yeah.
I can't stay there. It's just not me. That's the one
Yeah.
thing I guess maybe I've held on to. That's, that's the same as
Yeah,
before.
and and I don't think it's about sharing every detail or talking about it or woe is me and sitting in it. Simply the idea that someone amazing as you has moments in time where they feel like they don't have anything to offer and they really don't feel like talking or they're going to cancel things because they're just not feeling like their vibrant self. Like I think that as the overarching message of like that this is the human experience and that nobody's alone like that nobody's alone in that even if they don't see it and we don't have to talk about it we don't have to share every detail but the reality is I don't I often think like unless you're like a monk on a mountaintop. I'm not going to say this right because you will have gone where monks are but like unless you're a monk on a mountaintop living like with no like nothing except this we have human experience of whether it's our own experience or interacting with other people or their experiences because we love them or like whatever it might be you know and so I just think that's important for people to know. That's all.
Hmm. Yes, I agree. I agree.
Okay. I love you.
See, I do as I'm told. I showed up.
You did, and I love you for it. Okay,
Okay. I love you too.
talk to you next week.
Okay.
Well,
Bye.
on here. Bye.